The content in this video is for general educational use. It does not represent political opinions or judgments about any country, culture, or government. Information is based on publicly available sources and may be summarized or simplified. Viewers should verify details through multiple sources.
So, let's talk about Gabon. This is a country that is standing at a serious crossroads. It's facing a choice between two futures that could not be more different. And honestly, the path it chooses in the next couple of years, well, it's going to define the country for generations to come. All right, let's get into it. Here's a question for you. Is it possible for a country to be rich and poor at the exact same time? It sounds like a total paradox, doesn't it? But that's the central puzzle of Gabon. On one hand, you have incredible natural wealth. But on the other, a huge chunk of the population is really struggling. So how can both of those things be true? Okay, first, get this number in your head, 90%. That's right, 90% of Gabon's population lives in cities. That makes it the single most urbanized country in all of Africa. You hear a number like that and you immediately think, wow, okay, modern, developed nation. But then, you see this number, 31.3%. That's how many people are living in poverty. So you have this modern urban country on one side, and on the other, nearly 1 out of every 3 people is being left behind. That's the mystery we're unpacking today. And the key to this whole thing, well, it really comes down to what you could call Gabon's oil paradox, because the very thing that made the country rich is also its biggest vulnerability. I mean, this image says it all. This right here is Gabon's economy in a nutshell. For decades, oil has been the engine for everything. It's paid for infrastructure, for government jobs, and it's made a few people incredibly wealthy. But, when the money's flowing that easily, it's pretty tempting to put off building anything else. But that big question is hanging in the air. For how much longer can that last? Because let's be real, the clock is absolutely ticking. A lot of people might not realize this, but Gabon's oil production actually peaked way back in the 1990s. It's been going down ever since. And now you add in the fact that the whole world is trying to shift away from fossil fuels, and yeah, you've got a perfect storm. The very foundation of their economy is cracking, and it's forcing a moment of truth. Okay, so this brings us to a tale of two futures. First up, what happens if they just keep doing what they're doing? Let's call this the business as usual future. What happens if Gabon just keeps coasting on its current path? So in the reports, they call this the current path. The easiest way to think about it is, it's the default setting. It's a forecast that runs all the way to the year 2043, and it just assumes nothing big changes. No major new policies, no big surprises. It really is the future on autopilot. And what does that autopilot future mean for the average person's income? Well, by 2043, income per person would be about $14,370. And you might think, hey, that's not so bad. But then, you look at the bar right next to it. For the first time ever, Gabon would actually fall behind the average of its peers in Africa. It's a future where they're not just standing still, they're actually falling behind. And let's translate that into human terms. On this path, even 2 decades from now, almost 12% of the population would still be trapped in poverty. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people. So while things might get a little better, this business-as-usual future is just not good enough. Not even close. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. Thankfully, there is another path, a much, much better one. So let's explore what happens if they start making some different choices. Okay, now look at this. The difference is just, wow. On this alternative path, what they call the combined scenario, the average income doesn't just tread water. It soars to over $18,800. That's more than a $4,000 difference for every single person compared to the other future. And they'd be way ahead of their peers. This is the difference between just getting by and actually thriving. Let's just put them side by side to make it crystal clear. Path number 1 leads to a nearly $29 billion economy with poverty that just won't go away. Path number 2 creates a $41 billion economy and cuts poverty by more than half, down to 5%. I mean, the stakes here could not be clearer. And you know what? This is about so much more than just dollars and cents. This better path means people actually live longer, healthier lives. It means infant mortality drops dramatically. And it means more people have stable, formal jobs with better protections instead of just hustling in the informal economy. We're talking about a total transformation in the quality of life itself.
All right, so if that amazing future is the destination, how do they get there? What's the roadmap? What are the actual steps they need to take to build this thing?
Well, there's no single magic bullet, that's for sure. The growth has to come from an integrated push on several key fronts. And as you can see here, the two biggest drivers are improving governance, which means more stability and way less corruption, and boosting the manufacturing sector. It's about building a real, diversified economy from the ground up.
So, the blueprint for success really boils down to 4 critical moves. First, you gotta clean house and seriously tackle corruption. Second, diversify the economy away from oil and do it urgently. Third, you have to embrace the African Continental Free Trade Area. That's a massive, continent-wide market right on their doorstep. And fourth, you have to invest in the modern infrastructure and renewable energy needed to power it all.
And here's the crucial part. This isn't just some economic forecast in a report. It's a political choice. And right now, Gabon is living through the very moment when that choice is going to be made.
The country is in the middle of a major political transition. A new constitution was just adopted. They've got presidential elections scheduled for April 2025. This is the moment. The decisions made by the next government are literally going to determine which of these two futures we've seen becomes Gabon's reality.
There's a quote from the source material that just says it all. The current path is simply below Gabon's potential. And that's exactly it. The country has everything it needs to build that better future. If, and it's a big if, it can finally overcome the challenges that have held it back for so long.
So, we end right back where we started, with a choice. Gabon has a clear blueprint for prosperity, for lifting people out of poverty, for building a sustainable economy that goes beyond oil. The plan is on the table. The only question that remains is whether its leaders will have the will to actually build it.